Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And Dr. Lopkin, a little bit of it's not a slow news week. It's just that things haven't changed that much. There has been the peace accords, which is a very big breakthrough. And actually, Trump is in the talk for a Nobel Peace Prize, believe it or not, which is much to the chagrin of mainstream media, especially CNN, who hasn't really even covered it.
He's actually been nominated twice. Yes. Two separate people have nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Interesting. So, the race does continue. I think that does help to some degree. But it's all about the debates. And you mentioned Seth Rogen is actually going to moderate one of...
No, Joe Rogan, not
Joe
Seth
Rogan.
Rogen.
I'm sorry, not Seth Rogen. Joe Rogan is going to moderate one of the debates.
Well, they haven't agreed to that yet. There's a lot of talk about Joe Rogan possibly moderating. Trump has already said he's all for it. Biden does not want Joe Rogan, quite frankly, because let's face it, he wants the softball questions that the mainstream media will give him.
And that is definitely an issue because I have a real feeling, especially this time, it's going to happen. And the questions are going to be, let's just say, poised and positioned in terms of an anti-Trump, let's say, kickoff or a prelude, and then how would you do it better, Mr. Biden? It's not going to be a fair exchange.
That is most likely. I mean, we saw it in 2016, but Trump has a way of turning these things around. We saw it when he debated Hillary Clinton, where, she would get a softball question, but he put the pressure on her. And he's going to do the same thing to Joe Biden. Joe Biden cannot handle the pressure. And, in fact, a member of the Biden campaign has come out and admitted that, yes, Joe Biden is suffering from dementia.
Oh, no, it's really apparent, and it's really sad in America that, anyone wants a healthy choice between two candidates. And if you don't like Trump, that's fine, but he's certainly not suffering from dementia. I really don't understand how the Democratic Party got to this point.
No, and realistically, it's not all that different from what the Democratic Party did in 2016. They decided who they wanted to be the candidate. The primaries were a formality. In 2016, they handed it to Hillary Clinton. This year, they handed it to Joe Biden.
Yeah, but I can see handing it to the Joe Biden, not that he was ever Sandy Koufax with the fastball, but a 20-year-old version of Joe Biden, the 1990-something version. Fine. I mean, they're giving it to someone that's not ready for prime time. And I believe even a friend of mine who I was hiking with the other day was admitted, and to his chagrin, that Biden's going to get creamed.
Yeah, it really is starting to. I'm hearing more and more Democrats say that they don't expect Biden to win at all. In fact, some of them are actually thinking Biden might actually lose the popular vote. I'm not so sure about that. But, we should really be clear about this. It's not that he's not ready for prime time. It's that he's past his prime.
Yeah, that's much better said. But, boy, speaking of, how you've said some things in terms of the polls that, they were trending, Dr. Lopkin, but now it's really closing. It's no joke. Yeah, and much to my surprise over the summer, I thought I gave Trump less than 50-50.
Yeah, the polls are really tightening up. In fact, some of them have them neck and neck within the margin of error. Basically, what's happening is Biden went back out on the campaign trail. Over the summer, he was huddled down. You didn't hear from him much. When you did, it was prepared statements. Now he's out on the campaign trail and people are seeing, oh, this is not the Biden we remember. I don't think he can handle the job anymore.
So was it maybe a good strategy to do the bunker approach and maybe just say, I don't think Trump's worthy of a debate? I mean, you would have lost some points, but I mean, in a debate, I don't see it. I mean, he's had a teleprompter, prearranged questions, and it's still a 50-50 shot if he can get through it. It's really bad. It's no joke.
Yeah, he's not going to fare well in debates, but realistically, he can't turn tail. If he says no to the debates, the public already knows it's not because he's not doesn't want to give Trump the spotlight. It's well known already that he's going to fare badly. That's why the Democrats were trying to frame it as, oh, we don't think he should debate Trump because we don't want to justify Trump's position. Everybody knows that he's not going to do well. And the more he campaigns, the more that shows it. I think it actually highlights a bigger problem within the Democratic Party in that they don't have a deep bench. If you look at the Republican National Convention, Mike Pence came across very presidential. You could see him running in 4 years.
No question. When he debated Kaine a while, 4 years ago, he was great, very even, and Kaine looked like an idiot.
Yes. I'm blanking on her name, but the former ambassador to the UN who spoke.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know her, yes.
People came out yelling, oh, yes, let's have her run in 4 years. Very presidential. She would be a fantastic candidate. But you're seeing the Republican Party has built up a bench. They've got numerous candidates that can step up and run for president. The Democrats don't have that. They've got the whack jobs of the AOC squad. They've got the folks like Bernie, who, let's face it, Bernie doesn't have any more on the ball than Biden does at this point. And when you're looking at both parties in the Senate hearings, you've got a room where the average age is 75.
No, I would agree with that. They didn't have a strong bench. I think they had some. Amy Klobuchar would have been a good candidate, but very interesting.
Amy would have been fantastic. They should have backed Amy Klobuchar.
That was a really huge mistake.
I believe say she could have beaten Trump. If that was the only thing they wanted, she could have done it. And
I would give her a 60% chance of doing that. I always like to end with this, Dr. Lopkin, because I love your prognostications. What's your odds at this point?
Right now, if things stay the way they are, I've been saying I'm giving Trump a 60% chance of winning. Over the last week and a half or so, he's with the poll numbers tightening, I'm looking at 65, and if the trend continues, I may end up giving him a 70% chance of winning.
Fantastic. Well, we're doing our live show this Friday at 4. Listeners can dial in. It's going to be kind of a free form, open discussion. And how can they reach us?
They can listen live at blogtalkradio.com/Carnivore Radio, and we'll provide the call-in number at the top of the show.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Lopkin, and thank all of our listeners.
See you on Friday.
Take care.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio podcast network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.